Hello, I'm Amy
And I'm Sharon.
from 3 Floors Up Designs. Today we're going to walk you through the basics of setting up your Silhouette Cameo to cut fabric so you have perfect appliques for your quilts or your sewing projects. But the first thing you're going to do is unpack it, of course, from the box and install the software CD that comes with it onto your laptop or your computer. And that's basically it. It's a very easy install. The next thing is your blade. This little guy right here is your blade housing, and that's what does all the magic. And you can see it's numbered along the edges. On your Silhouette Cameo is a little ratchet, for lack of a word. I'm going to call it a ratchet holder. And you just drop it in here, and you dial the depth of the blade. For quilting and applique fabric, regular cotton fabric, we like to use a blade depth of 3. And that's explained in your software. But the biggest hint I can give you is there's a little tiny flange right here. Make sure that is facing forward when you lock your blade into place. It'll make a huge difference. Now, preparing your fabric, I'm not a fabric pre-washer, but I don't think it makes a difference if it's washed or not washed. We haven't noticed any big deal. But the key to this is the Heat and Bond light. Now, the light means you're going to sew through it. If you get Heat and Bond no sew, that means you're not going to sew through it. So these simple outdoor pillows that Sharon made on cotton duck, she used the no sew Heat and Bond because it's going to be in and out, off a pillow just for a season, back and forth, not laundered a whole bunch. But that Heat and Bond no sew is like cement on fabric. It's not coming off. If you want to sew on it, it's a little more pliable, like this little toddler shirt that's stitched around. It doesn't gum up your needle while you're stitching, and it's easier to sew through. So make sure you're getting the right product. I will also say, Sharon and I have tried just about every fusible under the sun that's out there. Every name brand, every type, every style, and we keep coming back to Heat and Bond Light or the Silhouette interfacing direct from Silhouette America's website. So you're just going to take a piece of fabric. Now, the mats come in a 12 by 12 that comes with your cutter. But you can also purchase a 12 by 24 if you want to do nice long borders or something along that line. But you can put your fabric on any size you want. If you're doing a full sheet, we recommend you cut your fabric a 12 by 12 square and your Heat and Bond Light like 11 7/8 by 11 7/8, so you don't gum up your iron, gum up your ironing board. Trust me, you want just a little bit smaller. So once you fuse it on the back, and when you fuse, you're going to take your iron and you're pressing. You're not ironing. You're not ironing your clothes. You're pressing and holding, picking up, pressing and holding. The directions are right on the Heat and Bond. And once it's cool, you're going to peel it off, and you're going to notice it's real glossy and shiny. You want that nice solid. If you start to peel this off and it's kind of webby in here, it's not fused enough and it's not going to cut well at all. So once we peel this off, you're going to line it up on your mat. And we like to rub it down, even a little bit of a roller. Go ahead. Sharon's got a, it's a good thing to do when you get talked into going to a pastry party to buy the roller. So we just use it to kind of hold it in place.
Get the air bubbles out.
It's right, get the air bubbles out, make sure it's stuck nice. Sharon's going to load it. Now on the little screen you have 2 buttons. One says load mat and one says load media. Make sure you're choosing load mat or it's not going to work. And then you can use these little arrow keys on the left to bring your blade in and blade over, because you don't want to start off the edge of a piece of fabric or it's just going to tear it. Okay, we ready? We know I'm going to cut out a letter. Lettering is so hard to cut. But once you prep your fabric correctly, make sure it's on your mat correctly, and just hit go. The Silhouette does all the work for you. Don't try to overthink it, outsmart the computer. Don't, just do what it asks you to do and it's going to be fine. And once it's done, it's going to let us know it's done. The carriage returns. Sharon's going to unload the mat and then peel off the fabric. And I did a letter B because it's, cutting lettering, you have to reverse it and trace it, and it's crazy. But you can see how nice and clean the cuts are to cut out. Now all you do is just lay it on your fabric and you fuse it. It's just that simple. This is a little leaf shape that we cut. Now Sharon and I cut a lot of things. crazy things that maybe you're not supposed to cut, but we've attempted it. But we're going to, down the road, we're going to show you how to cut and do stencils and do all kinds of cool things. But our main focus is going to be in the sewing and the quilting aspect of using the Silhouette Cameo Cutter. So you might want to, like you can see this little quilt that we have here, and you look at these little animals, they're very intricate. And the pine and the deer and the raccoon. This quilt cut out in about 20 minutes, and that's all the leaves, everything. So we got to go to the fun part of doing the sewing and putting our quilt together. You can check out our patterns at 3 Floors Up Designs, and Sharon and I have, well, there's 7 or 8 patterns there now that have the Cameo Studio files on them ready for you to cut. There's also traditional applique patterns you can print and trace if you'd like. Well, there's even some embroidery that is my favorite part, where you can pre-cut out all your embroidery shapes so there's no more trimming in the hoop. So I'm glad you checked out our video. Check us out at 3 Floors Up because we're starting a sewing and applique revolution by using our Silhouette Cameo.